I'm back here in DaVinci Resolve with another test, this time between the raw output from the Canon R5 and a 10-year-old camera, the Canon 5D Mark III, given a new lease of life by the addition of Magic Lantern, a fairly recent version, which allows the output, the resolution output, to climb to almost 3.5K. So it's a bit of an unfair test, really. You'd think that the Canon R5 would blow the Magic Lantern camera out of the water. Let's have a look at the test results and see what transpires. So I've tried to match the cameras, and they do match fairly well colour science wise, seeing that they're all Canon cameras. So I've tried to match the waveforms between the three clips. The project is set up DaVinci YRG color managed, and we're opening it up into Rec 2020, so HDR, but then we're outputting to SDR, Rec 709. And our project resolution is set to 4K. So first up is the Canon 8K output from the R5. So zooming right in straight away, you can see, hopefully through the YouTube compression, the grain structure here and the control of the sort of glint of this gold spine of this book. You can see the waveform, well contained. All the information is well contained except for maybe these tiny little clip points at the very top, which are the light itself coming through, or the bare bulb itself filtering through the bottom of this light fixture. So that, as you would expect, the resolution is superb, and the grain structure is pretty good. I say pretty good because I guess when we compare it with the Magic Lantern, I would be expecting even better. But having said that, it's pretty good. So let's zoom in straight away. So the first up is this clip, which is I think the resolution was 3072, so 3072. So again, it's not really fair to do the comparison, but I'd say it stands up pretty well for a 10-year-old camera. Difference in the grain structure, you can see that, but I wouldn't call it excessive. All these clips were shot at 1600 ISO, by the way. And they were all exposed to the right with the sensor just on the point of clipping. Obviously, inevitably, these points here will clip entirely because they are pure light source filtering through, but they were all exposed to the right to try and maximize the signal to noise ratio for the sensor. So that's the second clip. Let's just click back on the Canon 8K from the R5. Back again to the Magic Lantern 3K. So this third clip is a custom setting in Magic Lantern, and it basically adjusts some of the internal electronics of Magic Lantern still further, applies a few tweaks, and I use it here as a comparison between the two Magic Lanterns. So we're on Magic Lantern, the standard, sort of bog standard Magic Lantern, and this one. So you can see the grain has a slightly different structure here, as do the highlights. There is a difference here, but I put these two as a sort of comparison, side by side. But if you compare this one, which I think is probably the superior Magic Lantern one, and I click between that one and the 8K, which is the R5, a 10-year separation between the two, I am pretty surprised that the Magic Lantern holds up so well. And that's why I said at the beginning of the video that I would have expected the R5 to be streets ahead better than the Magic Lantern, which is totally usable. If you receive once you've received the files and you start grading them, I'd say it's totally usable still as a modern camera. The difference is, I suppose my conclusion would be that the difficulties of shooting with Magic Lantern compared to shooting with the R5 are night and day, really. It's fairly difficult to monitor these high resolutions out of the camera in Magic Lantern. The screen doesn't monitor in real time. So that's a bit of a big difference, really, whereas the R5 is easy to use. For this particular test, I'm not really thinking about the comparisons between the operations of the camera, simply the files you get out of them. So I would say, again, let's just click between this, which is the Magic Lantern with the tweaks, and that. This is 8K, you'd expect the resolution to be better, you can see it's crisper. But having said that, once this is all graded, I don't think you'd know the difference if you cut between these two shots. But there was 10 years separating the two cameras. In digital terms, that's like, I don't know, 50 years, I would say, comparing it with analog changes. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this test. That's the end of the video.